Hi, this is a quick video on the configuration and settings for setting up your organization with ClubSoft. So I'm logged in as a site administrator. You will see the configuration tab. Additionally, I have all of these different configuration settings within the application that I can configure and customize, and we're going to walk through each of those. Based on my user account, I can see all of these. However, if I was a financial admin, I would only be able to see the billing and payment section. Or if I was the website admin, I would only be able to see website tools. So that is customized through user permissions. But since I'm logged in as the site administrator, when I first log in and go to the configuration tab, I will see the overview page. What the overview page does is it walks you through each of the different sections, and then it'll show if there are different areas that need attention. In my case, I've gone through and I've configured everything, and now I'm just kind of fine-tuning and fixing the little areas within my organization. So we'll walk through each of these tabs and help build your club to where it's ready to go. So the first section is branding. This is where you'll enter in your club's name, your organization email, and your contact name and phone number. So this gets displayed on the bottom of email signatures. Logo, this will be where you upload your logo and your icon, your brand colors, and then you can customize the login screen. So each of your users will have a login screen that's specific to your club. And then from here, I can say whether I want the menu bar to be on the left, the right, or the center like I have it now. Application settings, this is where all of the configurations for the application live within the configuration settings. So this is where I would go through and I'd set my time zone. I'd create the different event categories. I'd figure out how I want to name my resources that I'm going to assign. So if I have moorage spaces and parking spaces and RV spaces, all of those get combined into the resource section. So if I only have moorage slips, I can change this to where it says moorage. And that will end up changing it over here on the left. As far as assigning individual resources, I can decide how I want each of those individual resources to display. So if I want to instead change it to slip, I can change it to slip, or if I want to change it to mooring, so then I can go through and I can assign mooring. As far as registered item types, that's where the user would have the ability to go in and upload a boat to their profile, or a villa to their profile, or RV. And so each of those can get tracked and assigned to a specific resource category. Sublease terminology, this is where you would select your sublease terminology. So if my organization used rent instead of sublease, I would change that here, and then it would change it elsewhere in the application. Check-in and check-out terminology, this is where I would determine how I want my check-in and check-out terminology to be displayed within the organization. And then board terminology, this is where I would create the titles and positions for my board and trustee page. Finally, I can turn off different modules. So in this case, I can turn off the resource module. So resources will not be utilized within my club. I can also turn off the financial section. And then finally, I can turn off the actual resource features. So if our club does not utilize waiting lists or rent, which I just changed from the terminology, or check in and check out, each of those can be disabled. Under member settings, this is where you would actually customize the membership type. So directory privacy allows members to hide themselves from the member directory. And so they would have to go into their user profile and select that. So if this box is turned on, that box shows in the user's profile. That hides them from other members, but does not hide them from the admin. Display couples. If a member or spouse is added, this will display them in the application as a couple. So Mike and Diane Morrison would show as an example. Membership type, this is where you would go through and create the different membership types that you have within your organization. And then member deletion. So you can set the application to where when a member is deleted, it automatically moves them to an alumni contact. So that way you can still send emails to them, but they are not listed as a member in the organization. And finally, member tags. So there's a variety of different tags that are automatically assigned throughout the application. So when you assign someone a committee chair, they automatically get a tag that's created based on that. So there's a variety of different tags, and tags are used for invoicing purposes, for document permission purposes, and communication purposes. So you can send an email to the 45-foot boat holders. Contact tags works very similarly. This is where you would have different tags for non-members. So in my case, I have a staff member that was added, and so this tag was automatically created based on their staff account. And then finally, event tags. When a user goes in and registers for an event, they would end up getting added to an event tag. So that's where all of the tags live. You can go in and create new tags from here, or the system automatically creates various tags. Access and permission. This displays all of the administrator roles we have within the organization. At some point in the future, we will add custom roles to where you can customize roles. However, for now, when you assign a role, you can assign them multiple different roles. So if you wanted to assign a user communication admin and financial admin, that would give them the ability to view the financial section. In addition, they could also send communication. Email settings, this is where you would configure your email and your domain. So this is the outgoing email address that the application uses when it sends an email. And then I've gone through and I've already configured my domain. So from here, you can configure your domain by adding your domain, and then the DNS records will automatically populate, and then you would copy those into your email host or your DNS provider. Website tools. This is a list of a variety of different tools that or features that can be embedded within your public-facing website. So you can embed the contact form or the application form that can be embedded onto your website. Member login link, that is that login page that has the fancy little background image that we were playing with earlier. So that will create the member login page. So if I click that, there's my member login page. And so I can copy this to my website, and when a user goes to log in, they'll see this page. Leadership embed. This is where you can embed like various executive officers and your executive officers and trustees to your website. And then finally, there's an embeddable event calendar. So any events that I want posted on my public facing calendar, I can do that from here. Club store. This is where you can configure the URL for your club store. Workflows. So within the system, there is a variety of different workflows, and you can create your own workflows. So right now we have a check-in, check-out notification. So this will email your administrator or whoever you designate as the contact person when a member decides to vacate their slip for a temporary time, notifying you of that vacancy. Expiring documentation. This is where you can set the window of notifications. So when a user's insurance or application is expiring, it'll send them an email reminding them to update their insurance. And then finally, application process. You can create a member record and notifies the admin when a membership application is submitted. So you can edit that. You can also turn it off. You can also create a new workflow that's custom to you. So you can say when a form was submitted, or when a member was tagged with this tag, or a tag was added to a contact, or a resource was assigned, you can perform a variety of different actions. So I can send an email template and it'll give me the templates that I can send. Or I can go in and I can create an invoice. So when a user is tagged with this, I can send them a invoice. And so you can create a variety of different workflows that are custom to your organization. Billing and payments. This is where you would manage all the payment side of things. Additionally, you would manage your Stripe connection and your QuickBooks connection. So from here, you can sync with members. Once I'm integrated with Stripe, you can also sync your receipt branding. So your branding in Stripe matches your club's settings. Here, you can also manage all of your customization as far as what you want synced with QuickBooks. You can do both the customer, you can do no customer, you can do members only. In my case, I'm going to have it set as both, so it'll sync both my members and my customers. This you can have it automatically set to where it will sync customers automatically with QuickBooks. And then you can choose your transaction mode. And so this is the report or the transactions that end up getting synced to QuickBooks. So right now I have it set as payment as sales receipt. I could do ClubSoft invoices as invoices in the accounts receivable. So there is different settings that you can set for your integration with QuickBooks. Additionally, you can include checks marked as paid within the sales receipt. So any check payments will also show in Stripe. And then you can also include member paid processing fees as a sales receipt. Finally, you can also set your sync status or sync refunds and disputes. So those will also show. And then if you click show preview, it will show the most recent Stripe payments syncing with QuickBooks. So in this case, it'll show the different customers that are synced. It'll also show my sales transactions. Scrolling down, this is where you would end up creating different billing categories. And so in my case, I have membership dues, mortgage, my store, events, donation, and other. And then I've also gone through and I've selected the tax category for each. Below that, you can enable sales tax, and you can choose the defaults on setting your Stripe tax collection. So in this case, I have it set as the club address. However, if I want the member address, then the tax will be based off the member's address, not the club's address. You can pick and create your own sales tax rate based on your location of the club, and then you can determine which categories are taxable. Finally, scrolling down, you'll have a billing contact. This is the email and phone number and the contact person, most likely the treasurer, whoever is your billing contact for when invoices are sent from the application. Finally, you can set a subscription anchor date. So if every year our membership renews on March 1st, I can set that here. And finally, I can set the currency and the country that our club is operating in. ClubSoft billing, this will show individual invoices that are the for the e-signature. So when my club decides to send an e-signature document, that'll show here. I can add a credit card on file, and then I can also enable auto charge. So when I send out invoices, it's 80 cents, or when I send out e-signature documents, it's 80 cents a document. And so this is where it would tally here. Finally, one of my favorite sections is the resource section. So from here, I can go in and I can create different categories of resources, and then I can create resources from here. So we will navigate through this in more detail in a separate video, but from here, I can go in here and create a category. And so this is the categories that display under the resource section. And so we'll walk through all of this in a separate video, but I would go through and create a mortgage category. And then under resources, this is where I would assign all of those. Finally, the integrations tab. This is where you would set up the integration with Stripe. So you would click the connect and it would connect you through Stripe, and you'd walk through the Stripe process. And then you would also do the same with QuickBooks and configure it to where the application is pointed to your QuickBooks account. So that is a very quick overview of the integration and customizations tab within ClubSoft. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.